This episode is brought to you by East West Bank. Asian American Girl Club is proud to be clients, and their support has made it so much easier to share these stories. East West Bank is one of the nation's leading banks, excelling in entertainment, technology, manufacturing, and more. And what really stands out is their dedication to connecting communities, creating possibilities, and helping people feel confident to aim higher. Working with a team that truly understands our audience has been such a smooth, positive experience for our women-led business. This is Undefinable, an AAGC Originals. Hello, Kara.
Hi, Jenna.
Welcome back, everybody. So happy to be here.
I hope you guys are happy to be here because we're happy to be here.
Do you wake up happy every day, Kara?
You know, we were just talking about that.
Yes.
And I don't want to rub it in everybody's face, but I will say 98.5% of the time. We're going to give it that.
Do you wake up with an alarm or without an alarm?
Oh, with an alarm. But I am one of those people that I only need one alarm.
Okay.
You know those people that have like a whole list of alarms?
Yeah.
I don't
You
understand.
just get up. And
I just get up.
It must be a sign of a well-rested human.
I am incredibly well rested. And again, I will let our listeners know with me, Jenna, sitting here. Jenna has 2 kids. I have nothing to worry about except for when my nap is.
You're an auntie, though.
So it's true. I am an auntie.
You get to give them back.
I give them back and then I go home and take a nap.
So
I am very well rested. Thus the 98.5.
I wish I could nap like my
positivity.
son naps right now, 12 to 3. I'm like, damn.
Oh, that's nice.
But it's like, which one do you do? Do you get stuff done in the 3 hours or
Right.
do you lay down and rest in the 3 hours?
I'm
always going to get stuff done.
Right. Because you're efficient. Me and Graham are on the same nap schedule, just so you know. So if Graham is napping, don't call me, Jenna. When he wakes up, I will also be available.
She's up with one alarm. Okay. Well, today is a very exciting day. We have a massive guest. This is unbelievable. She is just an icon in her field. She is a star.
Yes.
Lisa Ling is here.
Lisa.
And you're friends with Lisa. You know Lisa.
I am friends with Lisa. I'm so excited she's here today. I don't know how we're going to encompass all of this in just an hour or whatever time we have because she has done so much.
Speaking of, I had to, shorten her bio, and it's still quite long because how do you not just brag about this woman? Lisa Ling is an award-winning journalist and storyteller, most recently a special correspondent for CBS News. She produced series on the Crisis of Caregiving, the Psychedelic Renaissance, and the state of spirituality. She previously hosted and executive produced CNN's This Is Life with Lisa Ling for 9 seasons.
9 seasons.
Okay, 9.
Insane.
Our America on OWN for 5 seasons after serving as a field correspondent for the Oprah Winfrey Show, and a contributor to ABC News Nightline. Woo. Lisa was also the first female host of National Geographic's flagship series Explorer, where she reported on MS-13 undercover stories in North Korea and the drug wars in South America. She began her career at 21 with Channel 1 News, covering the civil war in Afghanistan. She later co-hosted the ABC's The View, which won its first daytime Emmy during her tenure. And she's the co-author of 2 books with her sister, Laura. And she's on the board of several organizations, including the Asian American Foundation and the Kids Mental Health Foundation.
Wow.
Woo. I'm tired from reading that bio.
I'm tired. It's that list is
speaking of
crazy.
tired, she must be tired.
She must be very tired. I mean, the level of education
I can't
that
wait.
this woman knows
I can't wait.
and has experienced. It's going to be so good.
All right.
Lisa, welcome.
Thank you
so
so
nice
much.
to have you.
Thank
We're
you for
so
having
excited to
me.
have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
It's also nice to meet you for the first time, I feel
know.
like.
You're one of the
Crazy.
few Asians in this business that I haven't met.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
It was time. It was time,
I think
my
it's your
friends.
last name.
Yes, it's
It's a little
definitely a
deceptive.
conversation starter.
It's deceptive.
Yes. And now my married name is Stanley, so it's even more, it's like, where? Who?
Exactly.
Yes. Well, we're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Can't wait to chat with you about everything. Growing up, I watched you just cover and do so many incredible things, and you were such an icon and a fearless leader in the media. And that was such an inspiring thing to have.
I always get so emotional when I talk to the Maymays and they say those amazing things like that to me.
It
really,
is true, though.
like,
It's you
warms
were
my heart. It
such
makes
a
me wanna cry.
trailblazer because same what Jenna was saying, turning on the TV and seeing your face there, like
It was like, I can do that.
yeah.
Well,
that's an option like that.
I can be there.
I can do that.
Thank you for
Exactly.
saying that because I felt that way about Connie Chung.
Wow.
Yes.
So I would never have thought that I could pursue a career in broadcast journalism
Yeah.
were it not for Connie Chung and seeing
Yeah.
her regularly. In fact, because she was such a unique kind of Asian woman in the media, she was bold, she was unafraid, she was unapologetic, she was beautiful, and
Yes.
yet just not, she defied all of the stereotypes
Yes.
of Asian American women. And so I wanted to be like Connie Chung, and thank
Wow.
God I had her. And in fact, if you ask any Asian American journalist of my generation, because I'm quite a bit older than you all.
You look good,
Stop,
Lisa. You look good.
Stop.
But men or women will all cite Connie as our
Yes.
inspiration for pursuing this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
thank you for saying that to me, but that was my, I guess she was my Lisa Ling.
Yes. No,
I was
truly.
actually going to ask you, like, who was that? And I was wondering if it was Connie. 'Cause-
Singularly. Connie Chung.
Yeah. And it's really crazy that it was just one, and there's just a few. But you really were such a trailblazer. Speaking of growing up, I would love to know what little Lisa was like.
Don't make me emotional again.
It's okay. We all get
We're
emotional.
just getting
Yeah.
started, Lisa.
Boy, I'm supposed to do this.
Mhm.
That's my job.
We're turning the tables today.
So little Lisa was the child of divorced parents. Her parents got divorced when she was only 7 and her sister was only 4. And their mom moved to Los Angeles, not far from where we are right at this moment, because she wanted to have a better life for herself. She came to this country in her 20s and was kind of married off very quickly to my father. They should have never been married. I mean, my father was my first love, but I couldn't have been married to him.
Yeah.
He was just he was a tough guy. And so I grew up without a mom in my home regularly. She didn't have a regular presence. And my dad was always working. So I had my grandmother there, who to this day is still the most important person in my life. But she was starting to get, older and more feeble as a young person. So little Lisa kind of navigated life on her own and kind of had to become the woman of the household at a very young age, which I think really made me much more resilient and made me incredibly ambitious. And so I knew that I wanted to have a better life. We didn't have a lot of money. And seeing Connie Chung was such an inspiration to me. Not only was she just this incredible icon out there, but she traveled the world and she was in the world and she was interacting with the most important people and having important conversations with the most important people. So I decided at a very young age that that's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And I auditioned for my first TV show when I was 16. My speech and debate teacher suggested that I go audition for this show that was seen in, it was like a teen magazine show called Scratch, based in Sacramento, but eventually went national.
Wow.
And so I was hosting a nationally syndicated teen talk show at 16, from 16 to about 18 and a half. And then I auditioned for a show called Channel 1 News, which is a news program that was seen in schools across the country. Anderson Cooper was also one of my co-hosts on the show. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, TV really kind of saved me from my, kind of sad life as a young person. I don't want to say sad because there were so many amazing moments about my childhood, but definitely not having parents who were married. At that time, there weren't a lot of kids with divorced parents, and I was one of the only Asians in my community. So even though I was a fairly popular kid, because at the time I was working in TV, I was teased every single day. Not a day went by when boys didn't come up to me and go, "Oh, Lisa Ling," or call me any number of racist names. It wasn't malicious; they were kids, but when you're a kid who is already different, whose parents aren't around, all you want is to fit in. And so any reminder that you're not like everyone else was just really, really hard to go through.
Yeah. Especially during those formative years too. I mean, where, hormones and, social acceptance, learning about social politics. I mean, that's wild.
It was yes, all of those things were, they were challenging moments, but again, I really think that they made me more resilient.
Yeah.
You were in speech and debate in school.
Yeah, of course.
Of
what
course.
what other things were you involved in school? Were you the ambitious kid in school, like you had said?
You know, Jenna, it's funny because I wasn't super academic.
Hmm.
I wasn't diagnosed with ADD until much later, but I had a hard time focusing within the confines of the classroom.
Yeah.
So I was very, very ambitious, but I knew I sort of I knew the path that I wanted to take, but it wasn't through academics, which was also kind of challenging because my parents had certain
Right.
expectations of me, and so did the whole culture.
Right.
So I was in speech and debate, and I really excelled at that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year it was, but I won the Sacramento law-related debate with my partner, Julie Price.
Shout out Julie
oh, wow.
Price.
A good public speaker, you.
Yeah, and I was involved in the newspaper, our newspaper staff, and I was in student government. So I was
Wow.
in a lot of things. I was very active,
Mhm.
but it was, I think, because I struggled to focus in the classroom.
So interesting. And when were you actually diagnosed with ADD,
A- well, I say ADD because
Yeah.
I never had that hyperactive component. I
Right.
have it more now. But then I think that's one of the reasons why girls who have ADD or even ADHD, they slip through the cracks because it doesn't manifest in this hyperactivity very often.
Right.
So I didn't officially get diagnosed until I was in my 30s when I was working on a segment about kids with ADHD for one of my shows.
Wow.
Oh,
I,
wow.
I,
Said,
I decided
"Hey."
let's take the test, and it confirmed what I'd already known.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
And looking back, it must have made so much sense to you
For sure.
In hindsight.
in hindsight,
Yeah.
all of those things, like for that long of time of being undiagnosed. Did you feel like, not to get into too deep into this, but like, did you feel like there was something
Something
that,
wrong?
No, not that wrong, but like that you were experiencing as a kid growing up that didn't make sense to you that then made sense to you? Or did it just kind of like manifest and you got used to it and then got diagnosed and,
Yeah.
you know?
I just didn't feel smart,
Hmm.
which was really, really hard for me as a young Asian girl
Mm-hmm.
because the expectation
Yeah.
was that I was supposed to be smart. We all
Yeah.
were supposed to be smart. We
Of
were
course.
all
Supposed
supposed
to
to
be good
be
at math.
the top of our
Yes, yeah.
of our class. We were
Mhm.
supposed to be good at math, and I really wasn't. I've always been a solid writer, and that's one of the reasons why I also wanted to pursue journalism.
Yeah.
But it was a big source of shame for me for a long time. So I don't necessarily recognize it in hindsight as thinking it was a problem, that something was wrong with me.
Right.
I just felt a lot of shame
Got it.
for not being as smart as I was supposed to be.
Hmm.
And that is so funny because before you walked in here, we were all, talking about you as our guest. And I was like, she's like the smartest person I know. She's the
Literally.
smartest
Oh my God,
person
Kara.
everybody knows.
Well spoken.
Thank you
and
for
that
saying
is
that.
so
Smart.
interesting.
I'm a good actress. No.
Yeah.
I've just been a hustler,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about your grandma a little bit. You mentioned that she's like the most important person to this day.
Yeah.
What was she like and what was the impact that she had on you and what are the things that she left you with that you continue to carry with you?
Okay, now you're really gonna make
I'm
me cry.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, my grandmother, she was the one who really raised me, and she and my grandfather emigrated from China, actually from Hong Kong to the United States in the late 40s. Both of them spoke perfect English. She was educated at Cambridge in England
Wow.
and studied music.
Wow.
My grandfather studied at NYU in the 20s and got his MBA from University of Colorado, but then went back to Asia and lived. He was, had businesses in China, but the family was living in Hong Kong, and that's where my dad was born. And so when they immigrated to the United States, they didn't have a lot of resources. They finally made it to California. And the reason why they were able to move to Carmichael, which is the all-white community where I grew up, was because they spoke good English. And Chinese restaurants were some of the few businesses that Chinese people could open during that time because of the Chinese Exclusion Act and all of the racism around it. And so they opened the first Chinese restaurant in Carmichael, California, where I grew up. And my grandmother carried the whole family on her back. My grandfather, because he was so educated, had too much pride to actually, work in the kitchen. And so she really was the one. She was the hustler.
Wow.
I stand on her shoulders. She was the original hustler. And she would work in the kitchen, and the cooks in the kitchen were often, neither of them knew how to cook when they moved to this
Oh
country.
my
I mean,
gosh.
Cambridge, NYU. I
Yes.
mean, it's just
They had
high
people cooking for
education.
them.
Exactly.
Yes. So they came to, they were kind of unusual immigrants at that time.
Especially back then. I mean, there's not a lot of Chinese immigrant stories from that far
Exactly.
back.
Right.
Usually it's post-revolution or,
That's
all
right.
of that.
That's right. So they were very educated. She, because she had a music degree, ended up teaching piano to the community.
Oh my gosh.
And that's how they gathered up enough money to open this Chinese restaurant, and some, donations from some family members. But she would work in the kitchen, and she would just watch what the cooks were doing, because the cooks were they were in and out all the time. And eventually she got to the point where she started cooking in the kitchen. And my grandfather worked the front of the restaurant. It was called Hop Sing Eat Shop, the restaurant. And my aunt tells stories of how people would come in and they were so kind of demeaning to my grandfather. They would say like, "Hop Sing, chop chop, hurry up."
Oh,
And, this is a man with an MBA from
Yeah.
University of Colorado, far more educated than most of the clientele,
Sure.
but had to deal with that racism. But there is a really heartwarming story that I want to share that I learned about many, many years later. When I was on The View, I got a message from a woman who said, "My grandmother always wanted me to reach out to you and tell you that when my grandparents were in the Carmichael area, they were Black. Your grandparents were the only people who let them eat inside of a restaurant."
Wow.
And my grandmother always remembered that story. And when she would see you on TV, she would say, she recognized my last name, my family name, "If you ever could reach out to her, let her know how grateful I am
Oh my God.
that her grandparents let us eat in their restaurant." So that was just like, it just kind of gives you a window into the kind of
Life
people
was
my grandparents were, but particularly my grandmother.
Yeah.
Since you
what
were
a
asking.
powerful legacy,
emotional.
though. Yeah.
Wow.
And the fact that, I mean, yes.
Yeah, she was an incredible woman. Like to this day, if people ask, like, if you could have one wish, what would it be? Most people wish for, $1 billion. But for me, it would just be to have one day with my grandmother. So I could just like tell her about,
Yeah.
Yeah.
tell about
What you've been
what
up
I
to
amounted
and-
to.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
what,
Well, she'd be
what,
very proud.
Yeah.
thank you.
Can I
Thank you.
ask when we lost her? Like, how old were you?
She was 85 or 86, and I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But she had, dementia for a number of years. So we kind of lost her
Yep.
mentally
Yeah.
a number of years before.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about.
Sorry to get sad.
No, she'd be very proud of you, and I would love
Very.
to talk about your incredible career. You have such an incredible body of work and done such notable things along the way and such really brave things. And I think that's kind of when I was reading about you and looking at all of these shows that you've been, you've produced and hosted and researched and been a part of. I think there's like this theme of like bravery for you. And you've done some stuff that like most people would never dare do and get in there in the trenches. And I'm curious where that comes from. And were you scared when you did some of these things? Like you investigated the deadly MS-13 gang. You went undercover inside North Korea on Explorer for National Geographic. Like what were those experiences like for you? And going in, like where was your mind, and were you like not scared or scared to experience these things?
Well, the answer to were you scared? Yes, certainly there were many moments when I felt at the time afraid of the circumstances in which I found myself.
Yeah.
But I think, where does it come from? I mean, I hesitate to use the word brave. I would say that I've always just had this insatiable curiosity. I have always wanted to I've always been a sponge and wanted to just absorb as much as I can. I mean, my friends and my colleagues always make fun of me because I could be sitting in a cab and by the end of it, like I'm, one time I was at the home of this Ethiopian cab driver, like, we just started talking, and then he invited me to his house with his family to have dinner. And because I told him
the food was good.
Yeah,
I bet the food was
she
good.
made the most incredible injera, and it was just like I've always just been curious about people's lives and about different environments. Yeah. And at a certain point, I kind of said to myself, I want to try to remember every day that I'm alive. And the opportunity to push myself to go to places and see things that my eyes just can't believe have given me an opportunity to remember a lot of the days that I've been alive. Yeah. And so I think that's been the impetus for wanting to do those things. And if North Korea, for example, it's always been this enigma in the world.
Yes.
And I always said to myself, like, if I ever get an opportunity to set foot on North Korean soil, it's the one place I want to visit the most. Now, in hindsight, it was pretty naive of me to have agreed to have gone under the auspices of being part of a medical team, because I thought that the worst thing that could happen to me if they discovered that I was in fact a journalist and not a member of this medical team, I would just be kicked out of the country.
Sure.
And then a couple of years later, my sister gets held captive for reporting undercover. So I wouldn't call it bravery so much as curiosity and some naivete, honestly. Some of my curiosity has led me to not probably take the security precautions that I should have taken.
Sure.
But man, I've just learned so much in the process. It's been just such an illuminating journey.
Yeah. We love East West Bank because they've been supporting generations of Asian families for over 50 years, helping people reach their dreams. They're one of the top performing banks in the U.S., leading in entertainment, tech, manufacturing, and more. And what really stands out is how much they care about their clients, especially Asian American clients like us, and how they support us 360, whether it's personal banking, business advice, or just giving us the confidence to go further. AAGC is honestly so proud to be East West Bank clients. We love working with them. It feels like having our own little banking concierge. We're literally on a first name basis with everyone. I'm looking at you, Roger and Renee, and they've supported us in such a real way, from the big vision stuff all the way down to the tiniest details. And truly, we just couldn't be happier. It feels so amazing to work with a bank that's genuinely invested in helping our community, our women-led businesses, and our stories thrive. They are truly committed to building bridges, creating opportunities, and giving people like us the confidence to reach further. I imagine that when I think about, I've always been like afraid of conflict and afraid of pushing people beyond their limits a little bit. And I'm curious, as a journalist, like, that's your job, is to like push beyond. How do you go into those kind of interviews? And have you felt the thing that I kind of named of like being afraid of pissing them off or doing something that is not, likable, etc.?
Yeah. I'm not a gotcha journalist, and I'm not even like a hard charging interrogator.
Yeah.
I like to think of myself as someone who is going to sit across from you, irrespective of what you do for a living, what you've been accused of, what you were incarcerated for, whatever, and talk to you as the human being that you are. Yeah. I've always felt that way. That's always been so important for me to do. And I think that seeing people at that level and giving them the respect of wanting to have a human-to-human conversation has kept me relatively safe all these years.
Yeah.
I think there's an expectation, I think, sometimes that journalists are going to do something nefarious or ask questions that are leading or, again, like interrogative.
Yeah.
And I like to think that I can be probative and, ascertain the information that I need, but still continuing to treat the person that I'm talking to as a human being. So I think that those things, does that mean that I have never been nervous during interviews? Absolutely not. There certainly have been times where I felt like queasy or uneasy about asking certain questions. But I like to think, and if you watch my body of work, I try to couch it in a more conversational way rather than being interrogative.
Human to human.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I read that you, you were on The View.
Yes. Many, many, many years ago.
My mother would be like, "Oh my God, we watched The View. We watched The View with you. We watched The View a lot. I sat down with my mom and watched The View a lot. And you beat out about 12,000 hopefuls who auditioned to replace Debbie Matenopoulos. What was the experience like, and how did you hear that The View was interviewing for this position? And The View was so massive, and it was like a panel of women, right?
Yeah.
Strong women with strong opinions. And it had such an impact on me because you guys weren't afraid to speak your minds and have differing opinions. And that was important, I think, for young women to see.
Yeah, it was hugely important for my own development because we all come from a culture where you don't speak out of line and you're not overt about your opinions.
Right.
And you don't speak above or at your elders.
Right.
There's a level of hierarchy and respect that we uphold in our culture. And so for me, it was a really disconcerting transition. I'd been working as a journalist for many years before, about 7 years at Channel 1 News, before I got the job at The View. And I found out about it at the very last minute. My agent called me and said, would you consider trying to get a job on The View? And I thought, well, I'll watch it and check it out and see if it's interesting. And I did find it really interesting. I did find it really empowering, this idea that women of different generations had this forum to talk about anything from politics to our sex lives, right?
Right.
And so I submitted a tape, and I believe I was the very last person to submit a tape. And they had already chosen the people who they were going to audition on air. And I was the last person.
Oh my God.
And so I got a call that I would be among the pieces, the women who were being considered. And so I did my on-air audition with the women, and I found out that I'd gotten the job. And I had to leave my job at Channel 1 and extricate myself from my life in Los Angeles in secret because it was going to be this big announcement.
Right.
Yeah.
And on Monday, I was supposed to start on the job. So that was an interesting ordeal. But I had a great time at The View, and I really, really learned how to kind of speak up for myself and to demand that my voice be heard. Up until then, I on Channel 1, I'd done so much extensive reporting, but we very rarely were live.
Yeah.
And most of my work was on tape. And so I had to sit there in front of an audience and express my opinions, but also generate a reaction from the audience because it's a live show.
Right.
And that was kind of what the objective on the show was. You either wanted to get huge applause or make people laugh. And, I've never found myself to be a particularly funny person. And here I am like having to try and get laughs from the audience. And that was really hard.
Yeah.
Joy Behar, who is amazing.
Yeah.
She's a funny person off the cuff, but she had comedy writers. I didn't have a comedy writer. So I was kind of on my own.
Yeah.
Right.
So there were a lot of mistakes that were made on this show. A lot of things that
that happens through trial and error, I guess, as well.
Yeah, and there's no editing.
Yes,
So
yeah,
once you put something out
there
there,
it is.
Yeah, you
Out
can't
there.
retract it. In fact, I'm so glad that I did that show before social media. That's how
Right.
old I am. That's how long ago I
No,
was.
but it's a different.
It's a different beast
different
now,
world
for
doing
sure.
a live show like that, news reporting show.
Because it's just like everything that those women say now becomes fodder for social
Clickbait
media
and
and
Totally.
cancellation and all
Sound
that.
bites, like any line can be taken out of context.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to talk about my ex-boyfriend's penis size.
Yeah. I mean, the floor is yours, Lisa, here as well, if you want to talk about it.
Wow.
Like just the things that we talked about then, I'm so grateful that, it happened before social media. But it was an amazing learning experience. And I'm so glad I had the opportunity to do it. But while I was still young enough, I really wanted to get back into the field. Like that's what my passion has always been and continues to be.
Yeah.
And so at a certain point, I decided that if I didn't go back into the field now, I might not get a chance to do it.
Did you work with Oprah after that?
I did. I worked with Oprah after
I
that.
mean,
super casual.
I know.
Have
It's
you
just
heard of her?
It's
what an
it's wild to
incredible-
think about the people that I've worked with and for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild.
Bucket list. You lived a huge life, and every day it's a very inspiring thing to think about, like all the moments in your life and living fully every single day and present and continually learning. You don't stop learning and being curious. And I think that's something that we can all take, because it gets very easy to kind of fall into our corners and be comfortable and, not do that.
For sure.
So you have launched something called the Mighty Lings.
Yes.
And I would love to know more about it. And this is with your mother.
This is with my mom.
She's so cute. You guys are so cute. Can you just tell us and our listeners like what it is, how it started, and where this journey has kind of taken you?
Yeah. So Mighty Lings, I call it a platform for intergenerational strength building and spirit and wellness building. And the genesis of it came from the fact that as a midlife woman myself, I mean, I'm sure all of you're not midlife yet, but you've been hearing a lot about perimenopause and menopause.
Yes,
I
a
mean,
lot
yes,
lately.
a ton.
Like
Yeah,
there's
actually.
this revolution that is
Which, by the way,
happening.
this word perimenopause, I don't know if I've ever heard it like 3-4 years ago.
Oh, no,
even.
I
hadn't
It's
even
only
heard it.
recently,
Yeah.
and suddenly,
Yeah.
it's like osteoporosis and perimenopause. I mean,
Exactly.
it's all over my IG
It
feed.
was
Like,
a-
what's happening?
I hadn't even heard about it, and no
Yeah.
doctors told me about
Right,
it. It was
yeah.
my
Right.
best friend who was like, "You idiot! You're in perimenopause. That's why you have brain fog and
Ay,
you
ay,
are,
ay.
having this anxiety."
It's like, that's why you're
Oh
acting
my
like
God.
a crazy person,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's something that every woman on the planet will go through
Yeah.
and has gone through.
Yeah.
But for generations, it's been so stigmatized because it has signaled decline. Like
Yeah.
it has symbolized decline.
Old
And in our
age,
youth-obsessed culture,
Yes.
nobody wants to be in decline.
Right.
And so I've been really, because perimenopause really just snuck up on me. I mean, I've always worked out. I don't remember the last time I was sick. Like, I don't get sick.
Yeah.
I thought that when I did experience menopause, it would just kind of happen and I'd
done with
just
it.
be done with it.
Yeah.
Right. But I started to feel all of these symptoms. And so it really hit me like a ton of bricks.
Wow.
The brain fog was so debilitating. I was sitting across from the first partner of California, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, and she was interviewing me about a documentary she was doing. And she asked me a question about, how violence against women in the digital space transcends to the political sphere. And I just lost it. Words were not coming out of my mouth. Like,
Yeah.
this is a question that I've talked about
A million
times.
Yeah.
But I just got this hot flash. I was
Oh my gosh.
drenched in sweat. And
nightmares.
fortunately, Jennifer was so understanding. And I said, I think that I'm just like going through menopause or something like this. And
Oh.
so I went and I made an appointment with my doctor, who's in her 60s, woman doctor. And I told her about all the things that I was going through. And not once did she mention the word menopause or perimenopause. Not once.
So crazy.
She said, well, maybe I should refer you to a psychiatrist
Oh my.
so that you could get some anti-anxiety meds.
My
No.
gosh.
And I was like, I don't think that I'm all of a sudden experiencing like this abnormal anxiety that
Right.
I need meds. And I've always been kind of against
Yeah.
for myself
Yeah.
Yeah.
taking those kinds of meds for myself.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I was having a conversation with my best friend, Shin, Korean-American woman, who is the most on top of her health person of anyone I know. And she goes, you idiot, you're in perimenopause. I'm like, Peri, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And so that began my journey to, get more in touch with what I needed
Yeah.
for this stage of my life. And now I'm on every kind of hormone you can imagine. There's a shortage of estrogen right now, which is making me flip my lid.
Oh my God.
Like just in like a shortage
at
in-
every pharmacy, there's a shortage of
Wow.
estrogen. I've been wearing an estrogen patch for the last year, and there's a shortage. I think it's a conspiracy.
Oh, okay.
my
Let's put a pin in that.
I
The
do,
estrogen
because
conspiracy.
women are finally,
Mm-hmm.
finding the things that we
They
need to
need.
balance our hormones
And
and,
now they're
become
magically
ourselves again. And now there is a shortage.
Now
like,
we can't get a hold of it.
But that's
That's
a
very
I'm-
interesting.
yes,
It is just shocking how little has been done when it comes to research into women's health.
For sure,
half
because
of this world.
historically,
It's
women's
wild.
health research has been done on men.
Yes,
Yep.
right.
So anyway, so
It's
now I have
wild.
access, well, I usually have access to the tools that I need. And getting on hormones has been a life changer and so transformative.
Wow.
I couldn't have this conversation with you if I didn't have the requisite hormones. But I think about our mom's generation and how they just suffered in silence. And my
100%.
mom, as a result of not having access to estrogen and the hormones that she needed, she now has osteoporosis, which is so rampant among Asian women.
Yes.
She has arthritis. She has a whole range of health-related issues that
Yeah.
I truly believe could have been prevented if she had the information that I have now. And so now we are on this journey and this quest to help her and women of her generation get the access that they need and build the strength that they need and the spiritual healing that they need. My mom at 78 years old, she's a survivor of sexual abuse and a whole range of things, like so many women of her generation. And they've just compartmentalized it all of their lives.
Yeah.
And so one of the reasons why so many of our immigrant moms are holding so much and we have such challenged relationships with them is because they've been holding so much inside of them for decades and decades.
Right.
And so I started this platform, Mighty Lings, with my mom. And the first thing that we highlighted was a plant medicine journey that she agreed to do because I've reported on plant medicines for years.
Yeah.
My husband, who's a Korean man, has worked with plants now for a couple of years and it's been transformative for him.
Wow.
I think all Asian men should explore it. I'm not saying do it, but just explore it because there's only so much talk therapy can do.
Right.
Sometimes trauma exists at a cellular level in people. And I think for generations of Asians, Asian immigrants, this is the case because our culture has never promoted communication or therapy.
Mental health.
Mental health,
yes.
exactly.
Right.
And so my mom agreed to do this psilocybin journey, and I flew her out to work with this woman facilitator who specifically works with women over 60. Her name's Heather Lee, and she is such an angel out there in the world. And so my mom did this massive mushroom dose.
Was it a multiple course or
Nope,
multiple
it was
days? Just a once?
It was a macro dose of shrooms.
Wow.
And she screamed for 6 hours straight. And when I say screamed, if you were outside of her building, you would have thought someone was being murdered for it was 6 hours at that excruciating scream. And I define it as like an exorcism happening.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure. The
she just had these
catharsis.
demons
Yes.
that she's been holding for decades, and they just came out of her. It was so primal and so physical. At some points, the facilitator, my mom was like mumbling, like gibberish.
Yeah.
And the facilitator said it might be pre-verbal. Because again, she may have been carrying things that she didn't even know she was carrying epigenetically.
Oh my gosh.
So let's just say she's had such a remarkable transformation as a result of this. She doesn't remember 1 second of that screaming and that physical manifestation
Yeah.
that was happening to her. But she views her trauma with such a different lens that it's been incredible.
Yeah.
And my relationship with her, I told you I didn't grow up with her because she had so many things that
Yes.
she was running from,
Yeah.
and it helped me heal.
Wow.
I had my own plant medicine journey
Wow.
that I don't think I've ever talked about publicly, but rather than going back to my past in my plant medicine journey, and this was years ago, I went back to her childhood, and I felt what she felt as a child, and it was really dark. And it was really sad and really ugly.
Yeah.
And so I went back to my mom's house the next day after I had that journey, and I held her like a child. And I told her I would take care of her because I don't think anyone ever told her that they would take care of her. She has been hustling. Like I come from this lineage of these
hustling
women
energy.
fucking hustlers.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do that, when no one's ever had your back.
Yeah.
Your parents who were supposed to take care of you
Yeah.
never took care of you, and you're just out there hustling. And so when I did that with her, like all those years that I didn't grow up with her and I harbored those resentments, it all went away because I saw and I felt
You
what
actually,
she went
beyond
through.
empathy, right?
Yeah,
You felt.
completely.
No, oh my gosh. And there's nothing like
Completely.
that
Oh my
connection when
gosh.
you like feel it in every like
Orifice.
fiber.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of that experience.
And nothing can do that
Yeah.
to me
Mhm.
except plants. Again, you can
Mm.
talk it,
Right.
but sometimes when you talk about it, you almost get re-traumatized, right?
Yeah.
But like these plants, they just somehow create these new neural pathways
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
So
for
would
you to
you
be able
say
to
it's like
process.
healing then beyond
for
just
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
healing. You have to work with the right people.
Right.
You
I was gonna say
have
the
to
fact
work
that
with
it's
the right professionals.
Yes.
Right.
The
who are certified.
facilitated, you know,
Absolutely.
is very, very important.
This is very
for
different than a
safety.
recreational
Yes.
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
This is a guided
Mhm.
facilitator with a licensed therapist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So here I am pushing shrooms.
Yeah. I mean,
No, but it's a
it's
fascinating experience that you've seen and, your mom has been through and you've been through.
For sure.
But it's so important, I think, for our community
Mhm.
to hear these stories and hear about the healing that can happen
Yeah.
between moms and daughters,
Yeah.
the healing that can happen intergenerationally,
Right.
epigenetically.
Was it a hard journey to get her to do that? Like, did she give you some pushback, and like, how long did it
Yeah, how
take
did you
for her to
sell
get
this?
there?
I would like to know
given
this.
her,
Yes.
past.
I've done so much reporting on it
Mm-hmm.
and seeing the transformation in my husband,
Mhm.
because, these Asian men are tough too.
Also,
Yes.
also,
Oh, they're so exhausting sometimes.
but also the
Oh my
lack of tools
God.
they have as well, right? Like we were saying
Yeah.
about our parents, but
Their own
also Asian
parents.
men, like,
Yes.
how little tools and how little examples that they have in our culture to be open and to communicate
Vulnerable
and
and- yeah.
vulnerable.
My husband's parents never
Yeah.
told him that they loved him until he was in his 40s.
Yeah.
And it's not because they didn't deeply love him. They
Yes.
showed their love through
Differently, yeah.
in
providing
cut fruit, in
Exactly.
paying for his college.
That's
I mean, we all
exactly.
know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were never demonstrative ever.
Mm.
Now they are. I mean, my husband's father passed away, but he has such a close relationship with his mom now. But it took him putting away like those resentments
Yeah.
for not getting what he needed as a
Of
child
course.
to be able to demonstrate that to his own parents, who are also stunted,
Yeah.
who also never received
Of course.
it.
I
you
mean,
know?
they have even less access and less tools than we do.
Exactly.
Wow.
And really, so that's what Mighty Lings is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's about us now having the resources, the language, the information to help our parents heal and possibly even help our parents' parents and healing that lineage that I do believe we can still heal now, even though
not too late.
our ancestors are long past.
Right.
Like we're healing the lineage. That's what this idea of Mighty Lings is all about.
You know what I think is so beautiful about that too, because I feel like there's a lot of organizations or a lot of talk about how we can pass things down to the new generation, the youth, like who's coming up behind us, But the truth is they have a lot of access and tools that we didn't even have.
For sure.
And very rarely do you hear about people talking about healing the older generation.
Right.
Because that mentality is very like, well, not that it's too late, for example, but it's just like, let's
They've
work
seen a
on
lot.
exactly. They've done it. Like there's no time. Like let's work on what's coming in the
Impressionable,
future.
But that's the thing, Kara, we have such a unique opportunity as Asian Americans.
Yeah.
Because we grew up in this culture that is communicative,
Mhm.
where
Yes.
parents are spending quality time, where we are affectionate and demonstrative with our feelings,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And in some ways, we have to, in some ways, we can show that to our parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can be the affectionate parents to them
Yeah.
that they never had, or just show them what they missed.
Yeah.
Rather than harboring resentments, because I think so many of us still do.
Yes.
We didn't get what we needed as kids. But if
Right.
you really stop and think about it, they didn't know how to do it.
Exactly.
And
They
we
did the
can
best
now
with
show
what they
them.
had and
They-
what
yeah.
they were doing. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
Incredible
it hits on
work.
so many levels. It's so wild.
Yeah.
That is so exciting.
It's special that we have this
It's very
opportunity.
special.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, you're right. Like we are in a very, very specific place to be able to facilitate that because how we are with our children is very different, right, than how our parents were with us.
Yeah.
So,
And nobody gives you a guidebook on how to parent,
mhm.
but we at least are we are parenting at a time when we just have so much more information. We
Yes.
just didn't have that.
At our fingertips.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Kara, can we talk about the new AAGC collection?
I am freaking out. Look at this new color, the matcha collection.
This gingham short with this quarter zip.
I mean, I'm going to be living in this.
I
This is
know.
so cute.
It is giving cottagecore, it's giving tennis vibes. It's everything I love, cozy and chic.
Oh, it looks so good on you.
Thank
And
you too.
I'm so obsessed with the fact that it is dropping just in time for Heritage Month. I mean, this month is so special to us because it is for us to celebrate our culture, our stories, and our community with all of you. And that's also what makes wearing AAGC so special.
Yes, and we love seeing all of you wear it out there. So please tag us. We get such a kick out of it.
Please tag us. And also, there's nothing better than seeing AAGC out in the wild. I was getting coffee the other day, and the girl in front of me, like waiting in line to order her coffee, had the AAGC hat on.
No, it's
And you can see the brand on the back, and it
So
just
cute.
made me really happy. It made me really happy.
so cute. And the I'm from here shirt, I love this. This is like AAGC to its core.
This is the core. And
Right.
also revealing Cozy Kitty. Okay? If I could be embodied into a form right now, it would be this Cozy Kitty. Because this sweatshirt that I have on is also very cozy. COZY, cozy. Here for it. So if you are as obsessed with this matcha line like me and Jenna are, this line is available exclusively at AsianAmericanGirlClub.com.
So we're in the sandwich generation, right? That's what we talk about, of like this time where you're taking care of your parents and you're taking care of your children and you're taking care of yourself. You have a new teenager. Is that right?
God, yes. I'm a 52-year-old mother of a new teenager and a
I mean,
9-year-old.
oh
I don't know
my
what we
gosh.
were
Oh my
thinking having
gosh.
kids as old as we are.
21,
but-
Lisa. 21. You were 21. What's it like from your experience, just, everything that you've talked about in this interview, like having kids in this era of time, being able to parent them and give them what they need and see that in a different way? What has this parenting journey been like for you? And then to have a teenager, which is, I can't even wrap my head around.
Yeah, be prepared.
Yeah. Especially in the world of social
Get
media. It's a very
ready.
different time than
Oh,
when
now
we grew up as
AI.
children.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
It's tough.
crazy to
Yeah.
think that we're the last generation that remembers what it's like with no internet.
Oh, yeah.
I remember with not having internet.
Yeah.
And our
Our
kids,
childhood was very different.
yeah,
than
they're
these
gonna
kids
have
growing
like
up.
AI, let alone
sure.
internet. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could give advice right now, but I feel like my daughter, I never know if she's going to wake up loving me or hating me. I mean, nothing that I can say is right. And it takes everything in me just to like hold it together and take a deep breath and
Yeah.
not want to assail her. And a couple of times I have because I
Sure.
can't contain
No,
myself.
Of
Yeah.
course.
I remember years ago, I was sitting next to Reese Witherspoon at a random dinner.
Mhm.
okay.
And I remember her saying to me, "Oh my God, my daughter's killing me right now.
Mhm.
I am the worst person in the world. She thinks I am,
Mhm.
the devil incarnate,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
everything I say is stupid or wrong." And I remember thinking to myself at the time, if America's sweetheart is having this many
Right?
problems,
I
we're all
bet.
fucked.
Like, truly.
Oh my God. And here I am.
Yeah.
But I also at the same time have such a special relationship with my eldest. And
Yeah.
she always wants to sleep with me still
Oh,
and,
so sweet.
do her hair. And I feel so lucky that she still shares with me.
Mhm.
She, it's bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah season.
Yeah.
You'll
Oh, yes.
deal with this a lot.
Yeah.
And so she
Yeah.
has a lot of Jewish friends. So she's
Yeah.
going to bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. And apparently kids are like making out at these now.
Oh no.
And I just had this conversation with her recently because one of her friends kissed a boy at one of
Oh
them.
my gosh.
And I'm like, is this like, I can't believe that just happened. She's like, Mom, this is what's happening now.
Oh
Yeah, like,
my
get with the
gosh.
program,
Get
Mom.
with it, Mom.
Exactly.
It's
And I
just
was like,
normal.
have you kissed anyone? She goes, no, if I do, I'll tell you.
Oh, that's
Cute.
nice to hear.
Just to even hear that is
Yes.
very, very
Yes.
nice. It's very
Totally.
comforting.
Yes.
I mean, I know that I will flip my lid, but
Yeah,
of course.
Yes.
I will be so like it made me so it like warmed my heart
Yeah.
that she said that.
It's a good sign of a parent that's left a very open line of communication with a kid.
Yeah.
Like I grew up very afraid because either it was like joking about it and you feel embarrassed, or that they are going to tell you don't do that and shut it down and not explain why.
right.
And so that is a very good sign of like a very open communicative
Definitely.
house.
I
And
didn't
I-
tell my parents anything.
No.
I didn't either.
I was like, oh, here's my SAT scores, and that's all you care about.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
I didn't tell my parents
because-
anything about my hoochie-ness.
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely
Even
not.
when I was 40.
Yeah. I know. To this day, my parents might think I'm a virgin. Like, I don't know. Like,
Exactly.
we've never had that conversation.
I don't think my dad realized that I had sex until I was on The View because I was talking about it.
Oh my God.
When the penis sizes started coming
Exactly.
out, he's like, what?
So yeah, I felt really like it warmed my heart that she said that.
Mhm.
But it's, it's hard to like find that line between like being a disciplinarian and
Yes.
teaching them right from wrong
Yeah.
and then saying like, whatever you do, I'm not going to be mad
Yeah.
if you just tell me. Like,
Yeah.
we'll get through it.
Right.
Mhm.
You're like, in the inside,
So-
I'll be a little mad, but I will contain it. Let's
Exactly.
be real. It'll be in the
Yeah.
inside.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so in it right now. So
Yes.
talk to me in a couple of years.
Yeah,
I
for
might
sure.
have more insights into
Hindsight of
how to deal with it.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
it is real, is what I'll say.
I mean, it seems like such a universal
Yes,
thing, you know?
yes.
It's like,
Reese
again,
Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
But
But also, I think about like, I love my mom and we are very close. I mean, even going back to something you said earlier, though, my parents don't say I love you. I don't think I've ever heard my parents say I love you.
Do you say it to them?
No, not really.
Wow.
You should, Kara, you should say it
I
to them.
know.
See what happens.
I know. It's
And,
like, it's just not part of our vernacular.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not, again, the cut fruit. I know my parents love me,
course,
you know, and
of
how they show,
course.
but we don't
Wow.
do that.
Yeah.
Like to this day, I still shake my dad's hand. We don't
Are you
hug each other.
serious?
Yeah. My
Kara,
brother and my
Kara,
dad
you
don't
have
hug
to-
each other.
like, when you
There's
do
so many
it-
gasps right now.
Literally gasps from the peanut
but
gallery.
like there are no.
But when you do
hugging.
it,
Yeah.
you should like look them in the eyes and
Oh,
be
God,
really
this is-
close to them.
I'm hot.
No,
I'm
really, I
crying.
know.
I'm like,
and
yeah,
like
I'm sweating.
put your arm on them and
Yeah.
really like
Mhm.
let
I
them,
do hug my
let
mom
them
now.
feel it. Let
Yeah.
them feel it, you know? It'll probably be pretty disarming for them.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like my dad would be so uncomfortable. Like we just we
You
don't.
don't.
Yeah. My dad, my brother, and my dad.
Wow.
Like we shake hands.
Wow.
Like we're in a business.
Wow,
meeting,
Kara.
actually.
But you're not
But
an anomaly.
actually-
Like this
No,
is
not
so
at all.
common.
No,
Not at all.
it's so true.
Yeah.
That was a
I mean, you
tangent.
there's some
have
lesson
physical
there,
contact
right?
at least. Some people never even have physical contact.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I
There's
appreciate
touches.
it.
There's
that's,
touches of the
That's
hands.
encouraging.
Kara, when my husband and I went on a date for the first time, like,
Yeah.
he's this like hot guy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he patted me on the back.
Oh.
When he
And
said
you're
goodbye.
together. You're
I
still
was like
together.
ready to like for him to like come in and like
Yeah.
for the makeout.
Wait, was it a
and
hug then a pat or just a pat?
It
Not
was a
even
hug and like a pat on the back. And I said to him, I was like,
You patted me on the back.
was
Like a
did you just
bro?
pat me on the back?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
he like his parents weren't demonstrative.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He needed that for you to call it out, though. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. Like that first moment was. It's like whoa,
Wow.
whoa. I mean, the one thing I will say about my own dad,
Mhm.
he was very affectionate with us. I mean, he also grew up in America. He came
Right.
to America when he was
Mhm.
11.
Right.
So he would always say, I love you. And
Yeah.
even though he was incorrigible in a lot of ways from my mom's perspective, and, like I could never be married to a guy like my dad, he was very affectionate with us. And that
Mhm.
made a big difference. And
Sure,
so
yeah.
I've always been very affectionate as a result with everyone in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Wow.
But sometimes, it especially when it comes to Asians, like you just kind of like have to assume that role.
Right.
In fact, I was on the Fung Brothers podcast once
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about affection. And at a certain point, I started I put my hand on their, the back of their head and I started massaging them and all that stuff. And they were just like, Uncomfortable. It was so funny.
We got to
but-
break the mold, break the barriers, do the
Yeah,
things
yeah.
that like make people feel
I'll let y'all
uncomfortable and
know.
change
When I give my
Yes.
dad a
change
hug,
the-
I'm gonna text
That'll
you,
be like
Lisa.
a special edition
Yes, we must.
episode.
You must.
It'll go in the group chat. Like, you guys, I did it.
No, but it's a reprogramming. There's so much reprogramming
Yes,
that
yes.
can be done.
I want to do a documentary on it.
Yes, Lisa, let's go.
Just like, GoPro me.
Let's go.
I'll let y'all know how it goes.
Oh my
Seriously,
gosh. I
no.
will
Good luck
probably
with
short
that.
circuit.
It'll be
Thank you.
amazing. It'll be
Thank you.
amazing. And
It'll
you know, you
happen.
just have to be the teacher, at a certain
Yeah.
point.
It's so weird for those roles to flip, even though we all know naturally it does.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know,
it
when
does.
it's like that time, it's like they take care of us for so long and then suddenly the roles
They'll
flip,
switch.
you know?
Just think about your dad. Like, he's probably never heard it
Yes.
Yeah.
He never got that, right?
in his life.
Mhm. Oh.
I know. I know. It's like
Yeah.
so just
Yeah.
Yes.
it's
Still sweating.
I know. It's okay. We got you. We got you. Perimenopause.
I'm sweating.
Perimenopause.
It's
Okay?
It's a hot flash. I wish I had the hormones for you with
Yeah,
the
I
estrogen.
know,
but-
right?
Apparently we're in
We're
a
low.
shortage.
It's low. Okay?
It's hard to find. Not gonna find at CVS.
Before we let you go, there's we'd like to do a little hotline. People write in and ask questions, and we had a couple of questions for you. We'll just do one or two.
Okay.
Hi, Lisa. I was wondering, over the course of your career, you've told so many stories from all over the world. Are there any reporting experiences that have really stayed with you or had a lasting impact on you personally?
I have kind of a boring answer to that, which is I think the reason why I'm a fairly decent journalist is because every story becomes the most important story to me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of years ago, there was one episode of my show, This Is Life, that I just to this day absolutely love. It's called Prison and Prep School. If you ever get a chance to see it, it's such a beautiful episode, and it's about a book club in prison. Yeah. And Jenna, do you have boys or girls? Or-
Girl and a boy.
You have a girl.
Yeah.
Okay. So these prep school boys once a year would go into this prison and they would read literature with the
Wow.
prison inmates. And you would think that the benefit would really be among the prison inmates, but the young men were
Mhm.
so moved by the experience because the prison inmates had done so much programming and so much, like they had become so evolved
Yes.
because they'd gotten access to so much therapy and drug treatment and all of
Yeah.
this stuff. And these young men in the prep school, they had to put on these up these walls.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they have to maintain the image of the captain of the football team or the head of the debate
Yeah.
team or whatever, right? And so when they went into the prison inmates gave them permission to feel and let their guard down. And you see these like grown men crying and emoting and sharing in a way that I had never seen before.
Wow.
And that episode was just so powerful. In fact, it had such a big impact on me that some of the men that I met in prison have gotten out. And tomorrow I'm going to be with one of them.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, I'm flying to the Bay Area and we're going to speak at this big engineering institute. They're going to show the documentary and he and I are going to speak about it. He was one of the men I met in prison who was facilitating one of the programs. He ended up getting 2 degrees while in prison, 2 master's degrees, is probably one of the most educated men I know now, and really just kind of gives you a sense of what is possible and how people end up in these places in the first place, trauma being a big part of, which is why, it's interesting that we're talking about this now because it's so important to button up that trauma because trauma manifests itself in so many ways. And for people without resources, even people with resources, it can manifest in some really ugly behaviors that eventually land you in places like prison.
Yeah, when circumstances align, bad circumstances align,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and it affects so many men. It's just, people who do have the resources end up, becoming president of the United States. But anyway, we won't get into politics.
Next question. Outside of your work in storytelling, what are the things in your life right now that bring you the most joy?
I don't know if you've seen on my social media, but I have a 9-year-old little baller. My daughter is a rabid basketball player.
So cool.
And
cool.
it's all she wants to do.
She is
like
so
if she
cool.
could quit school and just play basketball 24/7, she
Oh.
would. And she plays on a boys team and
Wow.
is sometimes the leading scorer in the tournaments.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
going to those games and watching my other daughter dances, like they're just so different. She just doesn't have as many dance events
Yeah.
as my ball or basketball player. That is where I find myself like wanting to just spend so much time. And I think because I'm not reporting overseas and going into as many contentious environments, when I go to these basketball tournaments, like there's such an adrenaline rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it like satiates my adrenaline.
The dopamine
fixation.
hit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
totally. So yes, I love watching my kid, but I
Yeah.
also just love watching basketball every weekend.
Yeah.
It must be
So-
such a joy too to see your kids do something that they love so much. Like I haven't gotten there yet because they're still so little, but I'm just like waiting for her to be like to tell me versus me put her in these extracurriculars and things that she's trying.
Yeah.
For them to say like I love this.
Yeah,
like
I
that
can't
must
wait
be
to
so
go to-
satisfying and
Ugh.
really you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true because as you know, the tiger parents that like tigerness is just in our DNA,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you want your kid to find that thing and excel, and sometimes that doesn't happen. You know,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
you know, my eldest is still looking. She's a great singer and dancer,
Aw.
and she's an amazing artist.
Yeah.
She's not as locked into what she does as the little one. I
Yeah.
think my little one's kind of an anomaly in that she's just like rabid about it, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
But that's part of the journey, you know, and
Totally.
you just have to respect whatever path
Absolutely.
that
Support
they
them
are
along the
on.
way.
Yeah.
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 That's
I mean, you
beautiful.
think about, when we go to college and they expect, freshmen to choose a major, like
Yeah.
it is hard to know exactly what you want to do when
Yeah, not
everybody's
everybody
still-
has that. you know?
Exactly. Figuring
so
it out.
hard, but there's so many just aggro parents out there who
Yeah.
are
Oh,
just like
yeah.
pushing. So yeah, it's something that like I always try to just keep in my consciousness. It's
Mhm.
just like let them
Let them.
dictate. Yeah.
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 Lisa, this has been such a joy getting to know you and chatting with you, and thank you for your time.
This
and
has been
thanks for
so much
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yes,
This
Thank
was the best.
you.
Thank you.
you.
You've been listening to Undefinable, an AAGC Originals podcast brought to you by Asian American Girl Club. Executive produced by Ali Maki, Jenna Ushkowitz, Tia Sam, and Kara Wang. Edited by Jacob Ho. Intro music by Gloria Kim. Thanks for listening.